Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. As I've been watching YouTube over the last couple weeks or so, I've been seeing a lot of my favorite gun tubers out there post a lot of videos of kind of 2024 in review and the best ofs of 2024 and whatnot. So I figured I'd go ahead and make a video also. This is the Regular Dude Gun Gear Reviews year in review for 2024. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to have in this video, I do have videos on, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on those, but I will post links down in the descriptions for those. I will say that overall, for me personally in the channel, I would say if I'm looking back throughout 2024, this year was the year for suppressors, NFA items, so, suppressors, also short barrel rifles, short barrel shotguns, and AKs. And in addition to that, it was also a big year for the channel because not only did I hit 2,000 subscribers earlier in the year, but I also hit 3,000 subscribers and continue to grow that since I've hit that mark. So I realized not a huge deal, especially in comparison to a lot of the other big stars out there that have, millions of subscribers or hundreds of thousands. But for just a small little, totally unprofessional channel of mine, that's a big deal. And I'm very, very appreciative to every single one of you who watch my videos, who subscribe, and really who comment as well. I really, really enjoy interacting with everybody who does comment. So kind of go month by month and go ahead and get started in the video. Starting at the very first beginning of the year, went ahead and picked up the CZ P10F. For my wife, my G17 that I have, my Glock G17 Gen 4. I have the Parker Mountain machine comp on there. I've got an SRO on there, and that was one gun that my wife really, really liked. So I have all different sizes handguns and mainly Glocks from G43s, and I've had them all the way up to G34s. And my wife definitely really liked shooting the G17 the most. With that Parker Mountain machine comp on there, it really made it a very, very nice soft shooter, very controllable, even in comparison to my G34. To anybody who's a little bit newer to handguns, and especially when they're coming to deciding what type of gun that they want to pick up for their wife, their girlfriend, their daughter, their sister, whoever may be, a lady out there, one of the things that I commonly see is people say, oh, well, let me get something that's small, something that's going to fit in her hand a little bit better. I'm going to tell you that from my experience, that is a mistake. Smaller guns, they definitely recoil more. They're harder to control. My wife is very small. She's probably about 5'3", maybe like 110 pounds. She has little toddler-sized hands, and she likes shooting full-size guns the best. So, want to try a little bit something different than the G17 for her. Plus, she enjoys shooting, but she's not a super serious shooter. So, to spend all the money for a Glock MOS, like a Gen 4 MOS, which I knew I was definitely going to get a red dot on there. Got the P10F for a super good price. Really happy with it. Put the Harrington Arms comp on there. Again, I do have a video on this, a standalone video. I'll put links below for it. And then in the end of January, I went ahead and put it in paperwork for the Huxworks Flow 762 Ti. Also have a separate standalone video on this in comparison to some of my other cans as well. I think I submitted this January 31st. And then that kind of rolls us into February. And we know that the approval times for suppressors really, really increased this year. And I got to experience that myself. I believe it was 23 days to approval, 23 calendar days. Was really, really excited about that. The two previous cans I had purchased in 2022, about a couple weeks apart, those both took 9 months to the day to get those approved. Didn't really have any gun purchases or anything big outside of the Flow 762 getting approved in February. But moving into March, I started getting a little heavier into AKs. So I have had AKs before. My very first, if you want to call it, military type rifle back in like 2006 or so, maybe even 2007, was a Century International Walser 1063. Got that before I got any type of AR. It was because they were cheap. Back then, a young child, didn't make as much money hardly at all. Picked up a Walser 10 for $318 out the door at a gun show in Jacksonville, Florida. So had that for a little bit, and then I ended up getting an AR and went many years without having another one. Picked up an SLR 106 FR. and 5.56 ended up getting rid of it. But I used to really not like AKs, but I did feel like at the point I spent a lot of 2020, 21, 22, and even 23 focusing on ARs. And I feel like I went full circle with ARs. I wanted to do something a little bit different. So always really liked these little shorty crank style AKs. Arsenals, they're definitely one of the nicer ones, depending on, I guess, who you ask. I know they definitely are a bit overpriced for what they are, but, there's no doubt they are a very nice AK. Have another standalone video on this one. I'll go ahead and post it below. Went through a lot of different, would say, headaches with this thing, mainly really all revolving around the muzzle device, actually getting a suppressor mount on it that was going to be lined up, because AKs, they're almost never concentric, and they almost will always require work if you want to run a standard can on them. But also SBR'd this thing. This is the beginning of when it comes to NFA items for me this year, where I started seeing single digit approvals. I don't remember exactly what this was. Again, if you go back and watch the videos, it was definitely down into the single digits. Added the CNC Warrior brake. Now it's going to look a little bit different than you see it in my old videos, because I have recently went back to basics on this. I used to have this thing with the RS Regulate GK5MR. I don't remember, but it's an M-lock handguard. I had a vertical grip on here. I had a weapon light on here. I was running the RS Regulate side mount along with a Trijicon MRO. And I decided that I really could just kind of want to go back to basics on this. Also, you're going to notice a little bit of difference from that standalone video, is that instead of running a Huxworks can on here, which I got this can to go run it on, I ended up going with the Resilient Putt Neck, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So now I have the JMac X37 360 HD, I don't remember, brake suppressor mount on it. This gun really kind of started off for AKs for me this year. And then continuing on with my AKs and moving also into April, I was looking for a full-size AK, something chambered in 7.62 by 3.9. And again, at this point, I still don't really know a ton about AKs, but did a little bit of research and came across the FB Radom Barrel. I think most people know what these are. As you see here, this thing is fully decked out with the Archer kit, which is not the way that I bought it from Arms of America. Also do have a standalone video on it. Post a link below. Go check that out if you're interested. Really love this gun. You can see I do have the Huxworks suppressor mount on here. This one here is the brake, and I do still run the Flow 762 Ti on here. It is a great combination, and what's nice about this one is that it didn't require any muzzle work, because you buy them from Arms of America, you were able to choose how you wanted the muzzle. You could have a bear, you could have the Barrel brake on there pressed on and pinned, or you could have it cut 1/2 by 28. So I had it cut 1/2 by 28, put the mount on there. It's not perfectly concentric, not perfectly, but it doesn't touch. And that's really all that matters. I go mag dump out of this thing. Don't have any issues whatsoever, but really, really enjoy this gun. Lots of fun. If you don't have a Barrel, I would highly suggest that you go get one while they're still being imported, because I hear that that's coming to an end. Now moving into May, and also continuing with AKs. Now that I had my SAM 7K with its 8.3-inch barrel, now I had my FB Radom Barrel with the 16-inch barrel. I wanted something that was going to be in between. So, I love 12.5-inch barrels. I do think that that is one of the most versatile barrel lengths that you can get for both AKs and ARs. Not a lot of options out there. I know PSA offers one. With all the negative press that I hear about PSA AKs, that wasn't an option that I want to entertain. No offense to anybody or my viewers out there that have them, that have had no problems with them. That's great. I'm sure they're going to do well. So may even question my gun here, which is the KUSA. KUSA, for those that didn't know, it was a company that over the last few years, they're really kind of blowing up, getting a lot of popularity, because now you had an American-made AK that was really true to the AK100 design. A lot of the reason why I decided to go with this one. So I almost went with a factory SBR, but with the issues out there that KUSA reportedly has, a lot of them, people said that if you could put your hands on them and you can inspect them, look at the rivets, do fit and finish, different things, you're probably going to get a good one. So I found this one on sale used on ARFCOM. Probably had about 1,000 rounds through, at least that's what the guy stated. And I went back through the guy's post history, and I got to see he really documented his journey with his KR 103, his KP 103, and then eventually this. So I got to see kind of a timeline and his experiences before he put the thing up for sale. So all of it was very positive. It was basic when I got it with the black poly furniture and everything like that. Again, this one as well. Have a standalone video on it. Again, put a link down below in there. You can go check it out. But this is definitely probably one of my, well, I love all of my AKs, but this is probably, if you're going to say just go grab one, it would be this one here. This was also another one that I had sent out to G&I to have muscle work done to it so I could run my Huxworks Flow 762 Ti. Eventually, I ended up taking that off. I was using a muzzle adapter, and really for a poor reason. It was to continue to use, or to be able to use, the suppressor mount that came with the Flow 762 Ti and not have to go buy another one. In addition to that, there's issues with the Hux AK mounts that are not truly face mount. I go into that pretty in depth in my Sam 7K video. So if you want to hear more about that, go check that one out. But as you see here, also on this gun, I am running the JMac muzzle device, brake and suppressor mount with the resilient putt neck. All right, moving into June, I didn't have any new gun purchases or any other big things going on, but what I did have was my videos that I released where I compared muzzle velocities for different 5.56 guns that I have. The first one is around 12.5 compared to 14.5, and how the 12.5, which in that case was a Criterion Core, ran just as fast and with some ammo even faster than a 14.5. A lot of feedback on that one, a lot of criticism as well. Made a second video a few weeks later that compared everything from 10.3 up to 18 inches, along with like my 5.56 Galil and my 16-inch barrel Tavor. But that video again got a lot of views, got a lot of feedback on that one. It's when I really started getting into kind of chronography and different loads. Now, the few months back, going to Christmas of 2023, my wife did buy me one of those Caldwell chronographs, the old school one with like the rabbit ears that you shoot in between it. Definitely less than ideal. It's a lot more sensitive to environmental factors, gunfire going off from other ranges, lights, all that type of stuff. So I ended up picking up the Lab Radar. Got this one used. Definitely is easier to use, but also has its downsides as well. Lots of videos out there kind of talk about the downsides of the Lab Radar, whether this is a radar versus actually being a chrono like the old school ones. Basically what I would tell you with this one, even though I'm fine with this one, and the issues that you get mostly revolve around the trigger. If you really want a chrono, I would recommend that you go with like a Garmin unit. So I don't have any first-hand experience with that little Garmin, the little small one you see. A lot of gun tubers use them. But I would probably say, and I don't ever hear anything bad about those. So if you want to get in the chronographing, just spend the extra bit amount of money. I know it's not cheap. I want to say it's like $500 those Garmins, but I'm sure you could probably find one on a used market. But it definitely can be very, very helpful to not only know what your different guns are shooting for feet per second, but then it will help you use with a ballistic calculator. You will know and get more accurate measurements for your holdovers for different optics you have on there. If you have optics on a gun. So also in June, I started keeping my eye out there for a AK chest rig. I do have a plate carrier that's set up for my AR magazines and whatnot. For my AKs, I was just going to go to get a chest rig. So looking out there, typically STAC is my go-to. But this time around, I ended up going with Beast Combat Systems. So I don't have a standalone video on this one, and they actually gives me idea for something that I may go ahead and do this year. But AK chest rig they have here, the option that I have, you can see you can hold five magazines, whether it be 7.62 or 5.56 going across the front. I went with the optional harness over the top of this. Really ended up liking this. Also ended up getting into some of their belts. This is really more of like an everyday carry belt, but went ahead and picked this one up. Added the True North Concepts holster adapter here. Different magazine pockets on here, pistol, rifle, along with the dump pouch and the med kit on the back. And then I also ended up picking up one of their shotgun placard chest rigs. Like you see here, it has 5 rows of 6 going across the front, held in with a little elastic bungees. Beast Combat, they've been around for a long time. They do have a pretty good reputation. So if you're looking for a chest rig, whether it be for AKs, shotguns, or even your ARs, go check them out. I don't have any affiliation with them whatsoever, but that about wraps up June. Going into July, picked up my next gun purchase. What you see here is a Remington 1187 Police. This was a short barrel shotgun from the factory. Got this one here on a Form 4 because, again, I'm not the creator of it. It was always a short barrel shotgun. Found this actually secondhand on AR15.com. This is one of the police trade-in models. The guy had done the Cerakote work to it. Got it for a super cheap price. I think it was like $425 or $450. But anyway, I do have a standalone video on this. Go check that one out. I will put a link down below. It is a really fun gun to have, and especially for the price on it. As you see here, I do have the muzzle device on here for a Salvo 12, which will bring us into August. So the Silencer Co. Salvo 12, also have standalone videos on this along with a couple different shorts. As it comes, this is not a new can. This has been out for several years, and I know there's other options that are currently available for them. I did want to stick with what I really knew, though, or at least the most amount of information out there available back when I got this. And so, having realistic expectations for what the Salvo 12 is going to be able to do. I really like it. Comes in full length configuration, is 12 inches. I had also bought the rod kits at 8 inches and 10 inches. It's currently in the 10-inch configuration for me. I do feel that this is the best length between size and between sound. But really, again, if you have realistic expectations for this, it is a great can. I love it, though it is a little bit of a range toy. For one, I wouldn't grab a shotgun for home defense anyways. That's just my preference. I'd grab an AR-15 or a rifle every time. But even if I did, I don't know. I mean, the can is so big, it makes it a little unwieldy, even with my short little 14-inch barrel 1187 that you just saw, or my Mossberg Shockwave that I had short barrel shotgun a couple years ago. Both those guns, I did send them out to Rose Action Sports because neither of the barrels are threaded for chokes. So in order to run the Salvo 12 on there, it attaches with onto your gun through your choke threads, and then you screw the can onto it. So sent both of those out, but even with those shorter barrels on there, it is a bit unwieldy. 14-inch barrel plus 10-inch can, you got like a 24-inch gun out there. So, but definitely worth the money, in my opinion. It is worth suppressing 12 gauges. It does make it hearing safe. I can go through several tubes with buckshot, full power buckshot, without ear pro. It doesn't hurt my ears whatsoever. No tinnitus in my ears later in that day, early next morning, whatever it may be. I do definitely think they're worth it. All right, so going into September, picked up this little Beretta 30X. These were released earlier in 2024 at SHOT Show. Never had one of these. My dad has a Beretta 21A, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to put a suppressor on there. Picked this up locally, used. The guy only put a couple magazines through it. Again, also have a standalone video on this. Go check that one out. But a very fun gun to go shoot, especially with the big old 9mm can on there. Looks really funny, but it's a lot of fun. Additionally, I've had this Mark 2245 for several years. It's probably the gun I've had the longest and still have. Went ahead and decided to get a Volkertsen Mini Scorpion X upper for it. Shorten the barrel up a little bit on it, make a little bit look a little bit cooler. So also on this one, do have a standalone video. Post the links below. Go check it out. All right, so moving on to October. I started the month. I got an email from Centurion Arms that they had some of their barrels on sale. Saw that they had their 12.5-inch lightweight barrels. And I thought that I would go ahead and pick one up and eventually build out a new AR for the wife. So the one that she had been rocking for a while was a build that I had previously done, a budget build, where I had a Ballistic Advantage 14.5 pin and welded upper. The muzzle device was just a Yankee Hill Machine Phantom. And then the lower was a PSA MOE lower that I changed out some parts on. She liked it well enough, and it shot fine, and it'd probably be perfectly good for her for the rest of her life. With with the amount of times that she actually goes out shooting with me, which is only about a few times a year. But it's not cool enough for the gram. So I figured I'd pick up the 12.5 inch barrel and kind of hold on to it. But I can't ever wait on anything. So I ended up ordering all the different parts for it. It really did a complete Centurion build. I do also have a standalone video on that one. But I also did also want her to be able to run a suppressor on there, which again, like she couldn't before because it had, at least not on the ones that I owned, because it only had the YHM Phantom on there. But yeah, go check out that video. Gun came out super, super cool. Also, kind of go back a little bit. Now I had a second 12.5 inch barrel to compare velocity with my first one being the Criterion Core, now having the Centurion, and definitely saw a difference where the Criterion Core seems to run a little bit faster, actually quite a bit faster than the Centurion. So I think that kind of backs up, a lot of stuff that I would hear on the internet where people would say 11.5 inches is the best SBR length because you're not really getting a lot of extra going to 12.5. And at least with my Centurion build and the velocity I get out of it, I would agree that you wouldn't get a lot of benefit. But 12.5 with a Criterion Core, super, super fast. But go check out that video. Also picked up a Huxworks Flow 556K. Did have the HXQD 556. That's one of the ones I purchased in 2022 and didn't get approved till 2023. And then, of course, earlier in the year, I got the Flow 762 Ti. So I wanted to get a K can, and I wanted to use it for my guns that had barrels of 14.5 inches or longer. So my 14.5, my 16, my 18, something that wasn't hanging so far out the end of the barrel, making it even longer. So pick this one up. Again, this one here was also single-digit day approvals. I do have a video out there on that one. Of course, there's tons of videos out there already about the 556K since it's come out. And then additionally, towards the end of the month, scratching another AK-47 itch, I did decide that I wanted to get one in 5.56. Now, was eyeballing another barrel? The 5.56 barrel is probably more popular than the 7.62, but I wanted something a little bit shorter. So I was eyeballing the WBP Mini Jack with its 10-inch barrel, 10.2-inch barrel. Went ahead and decided to purchase that, but I also wanted to make it a little bit cooler, and I wanted to do a side folder conversion on it. So that's not a straight up something you can just add. I mean, yes, you can with the CNC Warrior. And while I do have the CNC Warrior add-on to my SAM 7K, it's not quite as cool as a true AK100 folding stock. So I sent that out to Mbach Armory to go ahead and get that taken care of, and also submitted the Form 1 to make it an SBR. Moving into November now, my next cam purchase was the Resilient Putnik here. Running my Flow 762 Ti, I did reach out to Huxworks and asked them if it was okay to shoot on my 8.3-inch barrel 762 by 39 SAM 7K, and they said it's perfectly fine. But that's 3D printed titanium, and I know that the Flow 762 Ti already has a shorter lifespan than standard steel and Inconel cans. I never really felt great about that one. And also, I thought I'm not done getting AKs. I already had the mini jack that was coming, and yes, that's in 5.56. Shouldn't be an issue, but I didn't want to deal with sending cans out anymore to have muzzle worked onto them. It's stressful shipping guns, waiting for them to come back, waiting in general, paying the extra money. Putnik, this is a copycat of the Zenitco. I think it is a Putnik. This is made by Resilient, and I heard really, really great things about it. Wanted to get something a little bit different than the Wolverine. A lot of people saying that this was better than the Wolverine, at least better sounding. So I went ahead and picked it up. Again, this one here also took single-digit days. I do have a couple shorts, do have a couple dedicated videos on it, but using this on my mini jack and also using this on now my SAM 7K, my KP104, definitely been very, very happy with it. And at the end of November, I also ended up putting together a build for my wife's uncle. He had reached out to me and asked if I could help him put one together. I never did a standalone video on that one. Regrettably, I probably should have. It's now in his possession. Go ahead and drop a couple pictures in here, but I did another Centurion build. So for that one, we picked a 16-inch Centurion barrel, did receivers, handguards, parts kits, basically everything with Centurion. And I will say this. So, I built a 12.5-inch for my wife. I put this one together for my wife's uncle, and those builds, I've done a few different AR builds. They go together so good. I don't know if it's because they're all coming from Centurion or if it's just Centurion themselves, but just the way everything fits, the way roll pins go in, super, super smooth. Centurion, I definitely don't need to speak for their performance, for their reliability, but that pretty much ended up rounding up November. All right, so by December, I had my mini jack 556 back from Mbach Armory with the side folder conversion on it. Another one that I have a dedicated video on, I will link down below. Really, really happy with this gun. Super, super cool having the side folder on here, having the real side folder AK-100 set up on here. There's varied opinions of how good WBP is, but I definitely like it a lot. Kept this one simple as well. No optic, no handguard, no weapon light on here, with this little 10-inch barrel. This is not something I would grab for self, it wouldn't be my go-to for self-defense. Really a lot of fun at the range though. My wife really likes it a lot because of the weight. Obviously a lot lighter recoil on there. But go check out that video. And if there's any AK work that you want done, I mean, a wide gamut. And I know he did Christian at Mbach Armory doesn't only work on AKs. There's other guns that he works on as well, along with cars. So Mbach Armory, go check out his Instagram page. Go do a little bit of research on him. Guy is definitely top notch. All right, so to round up December and to round up the end of the year and to make it the very last gun purchase for the end of the year, I ended up picking up one of these IWI Galil Ace Rock and Locks, or Galil Ace 22s, whatever you want to call them. Had eyeballed these for quite a while. Already have a Gen 2 Galil Ace in 5.56 with a 13-inch barrel, but the Gen 2s, besides having the handguard that, love them or hate them, I don't mind them, though it is heavier, and they do take regular Stenag mags, your standard AR-15 magazines, which is a good thing, especially with all the AR mags that I have and really being an AR guy. This is a little bit truer. I'm using the original Galil Rock and Lock magazines. You see the gun is empty. And I manipulate here, no round into the chamber. These things, they were released as limited edition. I say that with air quotes because when they did first come out a year or two ago, whenever they said there's going to be a very limited run of a very small amount, and then lo and behold, they drop another limited edition run. So whatever, if they're going to get more, they're not going to get more. I figured now is going to be the time. But also kind of going back now with wanting to scratch that itch for another 5.56 AK in the Galil, even though it's not a true AK, it is a variant of the AK, or at least came off of that platform. I will have a video coming out on this one. I don't have one yet because I'm still waiting on parts. I got this from a private owner. These guns typically on Dissident Arms, I think they were selling for about $2,000 a piece. And then when you get something, the RS Regulate handguards are very, very popular add-on to get on here. Something that I would definitely get. Found a private seller, not super local, but at least in my state. He had one of these, bought it brand new, didn't fire it, put on the handguard. Also came with the K&S adjustable piston, which I am a huge fan of, along with 6 IWI Rock and Lock magazines, but I got them all for about $2,200. I mean, that was definitely a steal. Also didn't have to pay any type of shipping, tax, or transfer fees coming in, so there was money that was saved there. Took the MRO HD off of my KP104 that I used to run it on, put the green MRO back on it. Added the Surefire 340. And I won't go too much into this because I am gonna have a standalone video once I get the rest of my parts. I did submit the Form 1 on this, got that back in 3 days. Still waiting on CSC Warrior to ship out my Galil stock, so I am still running the stupid brace on here. I haven't even fired it myself. Unfortunately, they said that probably won't ship until next week, but I do have more parts coming for it as well. I'm going to do the plastic delete kit. I will say I got the Dissident Arms ALG trigger coming because the Gen 1 trigger in these Aces are horrible compared to the Gen 2. So that was definitely a must-have, along with some other stuff. I am going to run the Huxworks can on this one. This is the brake. This isn't actually the one. This is a 30 cal brake, but I did order a 5.56 one because anybody who didn't know, with Huxworks cans, any of their cans will fit on, but they're designed so that you can't accidentally put a 5.56 can on a 30 cal gun. So even though this is a 5.56 gun, being a 30 cal muzzle device, I would never be able, the only one I'd be able to run is the Flow 762 Ti. Wouldn't be able to run the HXQD or the 5.56K. So that was just kind of for show to see how it would look with the can on there, because I was trying to decide whether I was going to run the Hux cans or the Putnik. So, all right, so that's about it. That rounds up my 2024 for me and the channel. Hope it was at least a little bit entertaining for you. Anything that caught your attention for, you know, you want more info on any of the things, products, guns that I talked about, please go hit the links down below. You can watch the full videos for them. You know, what's gonna be coming for the channel in 2025. You know, we'll see. I did say that, you know, going into this year, you know, I said to myself that I was going to definitely slow down on the guns a bit this year. I've been going a little bit of heyday over the last 4 years, and now I think it's time to chill a little bit. You know, really spend more time buying ammo, doing some training, maybe taking some classes. Though, like I mentioned, there is going to be a video coming out in comparison with the Galil Ace Rock and Lock. I am kind of eyeballing picking up a Silencer Co. Omega 45K to run on my AKV. A little bit bigger can. I think it'll look a little bit better on the PCC. Plus, I don't have a 45 cal can yet. And I am also really eyeballing an HKMR 5.56A4. I got 2 in stock alerts today. Really super tempted to go purchase one, but I'm going to hold off. You know, of course, the holidays put a dent in everybody's coffers, so I'm going to hold off on that one. There's one I'm definitely going to wait, but I almost guarantee you I'll get one of those next year. But outside of that, I think I'm really going to chill a little bit. So really appreciate all of my new subscribers, my viewers this year. Love all you guys and gals. At least the 0.5% of gals that, according to my analytics, watch the channel. But please, you know, any of my other videos or this one, please share them, like, subscribe. Really helps the channel out. See if we're going to hit, or when we're going to hit 4,000 subscribers this year, or maybe even beyond that. But really appreciate all that you've done for me, especially a lot of the feedback that I get. I think I like that the most. So if you watch any of my videos and you feel the urge, please just go ahead. I try to answer everybody, or at least like the comment. Sometimes it doesn't always garner a response, but I appreciate all of them. So hope everybody has a really good 2025. I know that 2024 for me wasn't my favorite year. Nothing bad had happened. I don't want to sound ungrateful, but I feel like the first 4 years of the 21st century here, the 2020s, have been pretty challenging for absolutely everybody. But here's to hoping a good 2025 for everybody and all my viewers out there. Appreciate you all. Love you guys. See you in the next one.